In this WrestleTalk news, a potential Royal Rumble return for Vince McMahon, details on a calm down backstage talent meeting, and Tempest review of Smackdown. Subscribe and enable notifications to always on for daily wrestling news videos.
Support WrestleTalk!
Happy Saturday day, everybody. Who's ready for some news? You're not? Wait, you don't want to hear that Vince McMahon could be set to return at the Royal Rumble? Okay, I don't blame you. Yes, while return to the company seemed improbable, only a few weeks ago a TV return would have seemed almost impossible. But yet, here we are with the Royal Rumble just 2 weeks away. Could we actually be set to see Vince show up, even compete in the match? Well, according to Jake Scudder of Fight Fans, there have been discussions regarding Vince appearing at the Rumble. However, it's unclear whether this would be in person or in a pre-taped segment. Yeah, hopefully it's neither, but as long as he doesn't show up as number 30 and throw Sami Zayn out, I'm good. Of course, Vince was meant to just be returning to WWE to simply help negotiate the sale of the company. Heck, he wasn't even meant to be going into WWE offices, let alone be in the bloody Royal Rumble. Just to point out, our very own Luke Owen did predict a Vince return at the Rumble in our predictions video earlier this week, and we all know that both Luke and Ollie are basically sidekicks at this point, given how many things they've predicted, but hopefully they're wrong on this one. Fingers crossed, please, 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 please. Now, speaking of Vince, perhaps the biggest concern for fans at least has been whether he would be snatching the creative reins from Triple H now he's back in power, but we may have our answer. Maybe. According to Fightful Select, a calm down meeting was held prior to last night's episode of Smackdown by Triple H, addressing the uncertainty surrounding creative going forward. During the meeting, Trips told the locker room that Vince was simply back to help with the sale of the company, not to get involved in creative. He reportedly said that while Vince can communicate with him, Triple H ultimately get the final say on anything regarding creative. This then led to Kevin Dunn to also chime in, saying that Vince hasn't said a peep to him since his return. However, also according to Fightful, this may not be a case, as Vince has reportedly been sending word to some departments that they're doing things wrong. The report doesn't specify what departments are being referred to. Still is, again, interesting given McMahon's public stance that he's simply returning to help facilitate the sale of the company, not to get involved elsewhere. Importantly, Fightful did reiterate that they were just rumors at this point, but let's be real, none of us would be surprised if it were true. Sticking with the McMahons and the reasoning behind Stephanie McMahon's shock WWE resignation may have been revealed. While reports in yesterday's news revealed that both Stephanie and Triple H were opposed to the sale of the company, it looks like the family conflicts between the pair and Vince didn't end there. According to the latest Wrestling Observer newsletter, Stephanie and Vince did not work well together, and even now she has gone, an issue between Triple H and Vince still remains. In the newsletter, Dave Meltzer cast doubt on the public reasoning behind Stephanie's resignation, that she left to be with her family and was only in the position to help in the aftermath of Vince's investigation. Meltzer also wrote that often the now sole CEO of the company, Nick Khan, was often the peacekeeper amidst the family turmoil. But that doesn't explain why this was a resignation, and she left the board and cut all ties with the company she has worked for since she was a teenager. It was also conceded that she and Vince did have issues in working together as family members, and how Khan was a buffer who kept things smooth between them, as well as between Vince and Levesque. Adding to this, Meltzer also speculated that the potential Saudi acquisition of the company may have also contributed to Steph's departure, saying some have tried to tie in Stephanie's resignation to the fact that women are considered second class in Saudi Arabia. There was a ton more news today, including Mercedes Moné potentially having some backstage heat in New Japan, as well as AEW star being granted their release. So please, head on over to WrestleTalk.com for more. I'll see you next Saturday day, same Sat-E time. Over to Tempest.
A big thank you to Will the MS Warrior Stewart and Ryan Disco Stewart. You can get a shout out on a video just like this by subscribing at patreon.com/WrestleTalk.
Happy New Year, Merry Christmas, Happy Holidays, we back. So we kick off SmackDown with bated breath as Walter defended the Intercontinental title against Braun Strowman. Strowman was wearing Green Bay Packer boots and, well, can never do a football bit because of this. Look at this. This is green screen. As for this match, Walter got the upper hand early, taking down Strowman by targeting his injured arm. This was a tricky match at stretches. On one hand, Strowman had a solid hometown backing, but on the other hand, they spent a lot of time having Braun just sell and sell and sell, and that just isn't Strowman's strength as a performer. The match got going and actually was quite good by the end, as Walter grew more and more frustrated by not being able to put Braun down with his lariat and big splash. Finally, Strowman went for a superplex, and Walter wrenched the injured arm and hit his powerbomb for the win. Let's go! I feel like a 1,000-pound weight has just been lifted off of my chest. I don't have to worry about Braun Strowman ruining the fun of Walter's reign just yet. The match got there by the end, but this was not Walter's best title defense, even though it is impossible to have a bad match with the man. 4 out of 5. Sami Zayn is backstage and goes to see the Bloodline, but only Paul Heyman is at the building. Sami's confused, but Paul says Roman wanted to show how much he trusts Sami to get this done and didn't want the Usos or Solo to get involved. Keep this in mind for later. Sami's face changes, and I love seeing the manipulation of Roman Reigns in real time like this. Sami says he won't let them down, and that isn't a prediction, it's a spoiler, and walks off, and Paul does not appear to be a fan. Gimmick infringement, I mean, come on. Rey Mysterio comes out to do a promo where he says that Dominic ruined Christmas. He says this breaks his heart as a father, but as a man, he's sick of this shit. Rey says that he came to SmackDown for a fresh start and won't let Dominic provoke him, so rather he is going to get back on track by entering and winning the Royal Rumble. At this point, he's interrupted by Karrion Kross and his long-ass entrance. Kross just antagonized Rey, saying he was never home for Dominic and such until Rey snapped and went to hit the 619, only for Scarlett to trip him and get him caught in the cross jacket. This was about as standard a promo segment as can be. It was fine, Rey is a legend and is excellent. Kross just didn't give me much on this one. 3 out of 5. Liv Morgan is talking with Maxine Dupree and Emma, and they both tell her that she shouldn't have entered the Rumble at number 1. Raquel comes in and cuts a horribly scripted promo, saying Liv has all the fighting spirit to fight 29 other women, but wouldn't it have been a better strategy to enter at number 30? No! Also, last I checked, drawing a ball with a random number on it isn't what I would call strategy, unless people are just choosing numbers on a first-come, first-served basis, and I never heard about it. Raquel says she's excited to have her first Royal Rumble, and Liv slaps her and says let's have a match. I wish they didn't. Tegan Nox took on Xia Li next, and at times it felt like this match was happening in slow motion. This wasn't terribly dynamic, unfortunately, and it had zero heat from the crowd. When the fans don't even count along with the pin, you know they aren't feeling it. Tegan won with the shiniest wizard. 2 out of 5. Valhalla cuts an ominous Viking promo, and then Drew McIntyre and Sheamus are backstage with Adam Pearce, and they are having a disagreement about who to beat up first. I mean, yeah, look at them. That tracks. Drew wanted to get his hands on the Viking Raiders, while Sheamus wants another shot at the Usos. They're slapping each other the whole time in an effort to calm the other down, but they just keep firing up, and finally, Pearce says they're doing a tag tournament to determine new number 1 contenders, and next week they'll face the Viking Raiders in the first round. Drew and Sheamus smack Pearce on the back hard and say the tournament will be filled with banger after banger after banger. This was a very cute promo. Bray Wyatt then comes out for a promo, and after the excessively long entrance, Bray sat in a rocking chair. Is that supposed to be the same rocking chair? Is this canon? How many of those things do they have? Are they all haunted? Anyway, Bray does more of an old Bray promo, saying you forget who you are and that he is Uncle Howdy and Uncle Howdy is him. He says at the Royal Rumble, all LA Knight should do is run. It's a Bray Wyatt promo. If you're into it, you're into it. If you're not, you're not. I'm probably somewhere in the middle on this one. At least it didn't take forever. 3 out of 5. Kevin Owens and Sami Zayn argue backstage, with Kevin saying the Bloodline is using Sami, and Sami snaps, saying they're not using him. He says he doesn't understand how many times Kevin needs to see Roman hug him in the ring to understand this. Oh, Sami. Sami says Kevin could have just stayed on Raw, but Kevin says all of this is the Bloodline's doing. They came to Raw, they made this match, they made the tag with Cena, and they walked off frustrated. This promo is so effective for so many reasons. The verbiage and delivery is so impeccable. With these two, it just feels so natural, and I love seeing how deep Sami Zayn is in all of this now. Walter announces that he will be entering the Royal Rumble match, and then we got Liv Morgan versus Raquel Rodriguez. I started not knowing who I was supposed to be cheering in this match, and boy, at the end did I sure not have an answer. Liv smashed her head into the turnbuckle a bunch of times because she's crazy. I'm just not buying what they're selling me with Liv Morgan right now, which sucks because I really like Liv Morgan. Liv clotheslines Raquel over the top rope, and they all go, well, if this was the Royal Rumble match, she would have been eliminated. As if this isn't a totally totally different match with totally different rules. Liv gets pulled to the outside, and this is where this already not very good match completely fell apart. Liv spent a few minutes trying to set up a table that she couldn't use anyway, and then Raquel rolled off the table, swatted her when she tried to jump off the top rope, and then just hit her choke bomb for the win. Who the f did this match help? I'm supposed to have any faith in Liv Morgan winning from number 1 after this match? Why did Raquel need to win this double babyface match with no heat, dumping a bucket of cold water on an already cold Liv Morgan that really needed to be heated up? I didn't get this one at all, man. The pacing was atrocious, the crowd didn't care, and the finish was baffling. 1 out of 5. Sonya Deville is upset backstage because she wants a rematch against Charlotte Flair, but Adam Pearce won't give her one. That's basically it. She's like, "You're telling me you want me to earn a title shot?" Novel concept. She says she'll get her rematch, and shortly thereafter, she and Charlotte Flair are seen brawling backstage, and this was a really funky brawl. For some reason, Charlotte would keep getting the better of Sonya, but then turning her back on her for like a really long time, giving her enough time to just jump her from behind again. Like, can we get some fight choreographers to deal with these backstage fights, please? I'm sure this will get Sonya the match that she wants, so I guess it accomplishes something narratively, but action-wise, meh. We then had our main event between Sami Zayn and Kevin Owens. Michael Cole saying it must kill Kevin to have to do this to Sami was just f***ing hilarious. Kevin Owens' resting state for half of his career has been betraying Sami Zayn. You just forget about that bit? They fight each other every year, Michael. I'm sure he'll live. Kevin was the one offering a handshake at the beginning of this match, but Sami wouldn't accept and hit an awesome brain buster on the apron as they went to commercial. They were trading their signature moves in classic Sami Zayn and Kevin Owens fashion, and I mean, it's Sami Zayn and Kevin Owens. What can I say? You know the match is going to be good. Blue Thunder Bombs, half and half suplexes, huge lariats, big splashes, the Swanton, more half and half suplexes, more Blue Thunder Bombs. This match was fantastic, but after 2 half and half suplexes, Sami Zayn set up for the haluva kick, and that is when the Usos and Solo Sikoa ran in for the DQ. For as lame as the DQ finish is on paper, I absolutely know that this will play into the storyline. Sami Zayn looks at the Bloodline like, "What are you doing? This was my job, and I was doing it." Sami Zayn did not aid the Bloodline in the beatdown of Kevin Owens, as Solo hit the Samoan spike in a big running splash to put Kevin Owens through the announce table as the show went off the air, with Sami posing with the Bloodline, looking very uncertain. That main event segment was by far the highlight of the show, and while I do think that they sacrificed some in-ring quality for the sake of storyline progression, I think they're well within their right to do that with this story. Not the best match these two have ever had together by any means, but regardless, it gets a 5 out of 5. And that's the show. The Bloodline really carried things as they normally do, but man, the middle of this show was just a slog. A solid opener and a great main event make this a 3 out of 5 SmackDown, but man, the women's division on this show really needs some help. And that just about wraps it up from me. If you haven't checked out the latest edition of Survival Series over on Parts Fun Known, make sure that you do. All of the fine fools in our fine office try to name every single Royal Rumble winner ever, and they may get testy, but it is a damn good time. Until then, I'm Tempest, and that was wrestling.
I'm going to try and replicate some of the Megan dance. I don't think I can do much of the shoulder shimmy stuff, but I think I can probably do something like the sort of the arm flailing about stuff.
Do you know the routine?